What's up, everybody? It's Clark here for the BOS Sports Podcast. Celebrating after the Hawks get their second consecutive victory after they win tonight versus Chicago Bulls 110-94 in game, which Keaton, Wallace, and Daeqwon Plowden, they came up from the G League College Park Skyhawks and absolutely lit up the game tonight, with Keaton Wallace having 27 points with 10 for 18, shooting from field, good for 55.6%, 4 for 7 from three-point land, good for 57.1%, 3 for 3 from free throws, only 1 turnover, 4 steals, and 6 assists with 6 rebounds. He's active. Keaton Wallace was absolutely everywhere in this game. Daeqwon Plowden as well. He had 19 points with 4 rebounds, 7 for 8 shooting from field, 85.5%, with 5 for 6 shooting from three-point land, good for 83.3%. Onyeka Okongwu, he nearly had a triple-double as he had 14 points with 13 offensive rebounds, 13 rebounds total, that is, with 3 offensive rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Dyson Daniels, he had 14 points with 3 steals, 1 block, 3 assists, 8 rebounds, and 7 for 16 shooting from field. Nice day for Dyson Daniels, good for 43.8% shooting from field. As well, he had 3 steals and 1 block. He did struggle a little bit from the free throw line there, only shooting 3 for 7 there on the day. Good for 42.9%. Clint Capella, he joined in on a double-double party with Onyeka Okongwu having 11 points and 10 rebounds. 5 for 11 shooting from field, good for 45.5%. Clint Capella, he was guarded pretty well there by Nikola Vucevic there in the post. And on the other end, he guarded Nikola Vucevic very well. As Nikola Vucevic, he struggled a little bit today, only having 14 points, 6 for 14 shooting, good for 42.9% by the star center there for the Chicago Bulls. So Clint Capella, he held him down pretty well in today's game. Nikola Vucevic, he did make some hay there on the offensive glass, of course having 4 offensive rebounds, along with his total of 16 rebounds. Some bad notes, some sour notes here for Atlanta Hawks today. Bogdanovich, he went 1 for 10 for day. Oh no, I think he'll be okay. Good for 3 points. A little bit more concerning, David Roddy in the extended minutes had 4 points, 2 for 11 shooting from field, good for 18.2%. Whoa. And of course 10% for Bogdanovich. Certainly not shooting percentages you'd like to see in a game for either one of those Atlanta Hawks players. The starting lineup tonight was, of course, pretty interesting. Of course, David Roddy was in it, as well as Keaton Wallace, Dyson Daniels, V. Krejci, and David Roddy all started tonight, along with Clint Capella. Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, DeAndre Hunter, and Zachary Rizachet were all out for Atlanta Hawks tonight. But they still got the victory on this start to this East Coast road trip, which sees them playing versus Celtics next on Saturday. And then Monday for the MLK game at 3 p.m., an afternoon game. Hopefully everyone gets a chance to watch. Day off there for anyone, of course, working for the federally or for the post office, anything like that. You get the day off. Bankers, day off. Hopefully everyone, as many people as possible, get the day off. And watch some Atlanta Hawks basketball there versus the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. It'll be their 3rd matchup this year. Of course, the Hawks famously won the last matchup there in the NBA Cup. Quarterfinals, the first of the elimination rounds, as Trae Young, he rolled the dice on the floor. So hopefully Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, they're all back for the game. DeAndre Hunter, they're all back for Monday's game, because you know it's going to be an absolute battle there in Madison Square Garden. As far as Saturday night's game, that's also versus the Celtics there in, what are they calling it now? The TD Garden? Boston Garden? I'm not sure. Have to look at, I think it's still the TD Garden. So that'll be a battle as well. Trae Young, he infamously balls out in both arenas, so you know he'll show up and absolutely ball out in both. So for the Chicago Bulls tonight, Zach LaVine, he had a little bit of a quiet night, as noted by the broadcast. He had a nice shooting day, 7 for 13 field goals, good for 53.8%, 7 assists as well. He was finding other players as well pretty good in the passing game. He's well had 6 rebounds and 2 steals. Patrick Williams, he had 10 points. Nikola Vucevic, aforementioned, 14 points, 6 for 14 shooting from field, 42.9. A little bit of tough day as Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu, they guarded him pretty well today. He was 0 for 3 from three-point land as well, with 16 rebounds, Four of them offensive, as aforementioned. He did make some pretty good hay there in the box-out game there on the offense end there for the Chicago Bulls. He also had 3 turnovers. Josh Giddey, he had 7 points with 10 rebounds, all of them defensive. He had 3 turnovers as well. His turnovers were really the story of the day there for Chicago Bulls. Kobe White, he had 16 points, 5 for 14 shooting from field, good for 35.7%, 1 for 7 from three-point land, good for 14.3%, 3 turnovers. Certainly not a great shooting day from three-point land, as we saw in the November Chicago Bulls win over the Atlanta Hawks, where he saw scorers such as Patrick Williams, Kobe White absolutely go off versus the Atlanta Hawks. So, of course, in this podcast, we look at the 3 key stats of whether or not basketball wins the game. Basketball team wins the game. The ball can't win the game. The team has to win. So, of course, that is 41 to 44.3%. The Hawks were a little bit outshot there by the Bulls, but of course that was made up in the rebounding margin, which the Hawks won narrowly 58 to 57 after trailing the first half. We'll get to that in a little bit. And turnover margin, the Atlanta Hawks, they won handedly, having 9 turnovers compared to the Chicago Bulls 20. As well, not to not be knocked, is as well the 3-point shooting percentage. The Atlanta Hawks did have a better one than the Chicago Bulls, although neither team had a great day shooting from three-point land. As Atlanta Hawks had 30.2% compared to the Chicago Bulls 22.2% there from three-point land. So this is the third matchup versus the Chicago Bulls and Atlanta Hawks, the penultimate or the ultimate regular season matchup. As Atlanta Hawks, they lost their first match versus them in November, and there on November 26th, they pulled off that wonderful 20-point come-from-behind victory there the day after Christmas there versus Chicago Bulls, and now have won the season series versus this team. Nice to see, as Chicago Bulls, we might not see make the playoffs this year. So, getting in later into this episode, we're looking at the international free agency period. The Braves have supposedly signed 10 players. Some have been reported there on the Braves transaction website already, prior to when I made this podcast as well. Some have been reported by David Bryan and other outlets as well online. As well, we're covering a little bit of the Phoenix Suns game from last night. Of course, I had that glitch there with the podcast. New recording format here in the widescreen thing. We got Spencer Strider and Allen Iverson here with us tonight in the background with their jerseys here. And, of course, celebrating this wonderful Atlanta Hawks win. So, the aforementioned, the Atlanta Braves, they signed some nice free agents out of the international free agency period. They landed 2 out of the top 20 there with Roddy Reyes, number 20th overall ranked prospect, touching up to 102 miles an hour on his fastball, sitting in the upper 90s. He's going to be a wonderful pitcher. He's 16, out of Cuba, 6'4" already, 220 pounds. Built absolutely, and going to grow more here, hopefully, for Atlanta Braves as he continues to fill out. And wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta Braves considered using him out of the bullpen at some point here before he turns 20. Certainly a revolutionary idea from the days to where pitchers wouldn't pitch until their mid to late 20s. They also signed free agent Yancho Martinez, Elias Reyno, Melvin Fernandez, Yasel Garcia, Juan Alejandro, Lionel Prevosti. They've all been announced on the Braves' official transaction log, and as well reported by other outlets online, and reposted by David O'Brien this evening. And there's a report of the total of the Atlanta Braves and international signings. David Torres, as well, has been signed by the Atlanta Braves, a number 5 overall prospect from this draft. He's standing at 6'4", switch-hitting outfielder prospect, noted for a lot of power. Very interesting. We could see him, maybe dream of him being somewhat like an Aaron Judge or Matt Olson, but as a switch hitter there, as an outfielder down the road for Atlanta Braves. Hopefully he stays healthy and continues to be successful and develop there, as he's certainly already one of the most exciting prospects as the Braves have in the organization. As well, David O'Brien also reported, as not already mentioned on the Braves transaction log, Yastin Pinales, a right-handed pitcher from the Dominican Republic, as well as Wilmer Almonte, another right-handed pitcher from the Dominican Republic. Do some research in those, I will. And within the next couple episodes, we'll go over them a little bit. Certainly exciting news for Atlanta Braves. They're certainly building a nice core. Looking forward to the 2030 next decade here with position players and as well as pitching as well. Of course, they certainly suffered from the international restrictions there. They suffered there at the end of the 2010s. Now they're right back to it. So coming back here to this Atlanta Hawks game, this thrilling victory, blowout really, 110-94 over the Bulls. Let's go ahead and go over the game really quick. David Roddy, he got the first score and then scored again later, as that would be his only 2 field goals for a game, as he really struggled, aforementioned, with that 18.2%. But he kind of set the tone there for the Hawks, not to be dismissed, as he got the first 2 buckets. And with the Dyson layup there at the 10-minute 44 seconds mark, the Hawks were already up 6-0 over the Bulls. The Bulls, they got the first score at the 10-minute and 35-second mark on a Patrick Williams score. Josh Giddey, he had one of his 3 turnovers there at the 10-minute 6-second mark. Kobe White, he had one of his 3 turnovers there, maybe a few seconds before. I had that noted, 10:47, that might be 9:47. Off of David Roddy's steal, one of his 3 of the game. And Clint misses a hook there around the 9-minute 32-second mark after getting ball back, offensive rebound. He certainly struggled a little bit there in the paint. That was certainly like to see Clint hit that kind of shot there. They attempted around the 9-minute 32-second mark. It's close there, a nice hook there. And we've seen him hit in the past. Hopefully he has more success on it going forward. Be key for the Atlanta Hawks. We just certainly need a post presence, scoring threat there under the rim. There with our strong lineup at all times. Josh Giddey, he scored at the other end seconds later and hauled after hauling in a rebound off of V. Krejci miss. Dyson Daniels, he got a rebound off a tip-in miss by Vucevic, and Zach Levine missed 3. And on the other end, he knocked down a 3, giving the Hawks the early 9-4 lead, which the Bulls call a quick timeout. Vucevic, he got a tip-in seconds later versus Clint. One of his 4 offensive rebounds, a nice tip-in, as Vucevic was really making hay there in the paint and the box-out game there on the offensive glass early. Clint Capella scored 7-minute 55-second mark. V. Krejci got laid up there at the 7-minute 20-second mark. There, the first quarter, Keaton Wallace got a 3 at the 6-minute 27 mark. One of his 3 of his 27 points, as the Hawks had an early 16-8 lead, doubling up the Chicago Bulls pretty early there. So we're going to pause really quick for station identification. All right, back to this game. Keaton Wallace, he had, seconds later, Julian Phillips, nice prospect. He was trained by the Boston Celtics a few years ago and landed here on the Chicago Bulls, and his situation's a little bit up in there. He might be an interesting piece for the Boston Celtics and someone they could potentially acquire for a little bit less than potentially a Walker Kessler deal, which of course would be interesting for the Celtics as well. He got a dunk on a putback there at around the 6-minute 10-second mark to put the deficit back to 6 points for the Bull there, as the Hawks led 16-10. Julian Phillips on the day, he had 10 points with 4 for 5 shooting from the field, mostly close shots, as he did miss 1 3 attempt. He had 2 for 2 shooting from the line. He had 4 rebounds there, 2 on defense and 2 on offense, as he was active there, aforementioned there around the 6-minute 10-second mark. He got that put back there versus the Hawks there in the first quarter, 16-10. The 5-minute 34-second mark, he had a turnover stepping out of bounds, receiving the pass. A little bit concerning if you're Celtics and potentially thinking about bringing them back here for their hopefully championship run. And hopefully the Atlanta Hawks beat them in the playoffs. Hopefully both teams get there, and that'd be a nice matchup to see in the playoffs. So David Roddy, he missed a shot in the other end. They got a steal, got the ball right back, and he tried to shoot again. The Dyson Daniels, he got tipped in, cleaned things up there around 5-minute, 10-second mark. Hawks lead back up by 18-10 there, first quarter. This is really scrappy basketball. In the early going, the Hawks are playing cleaner brand of basketball, as well out hustling them, winning the early turnover margin. Deaqwon, around the 4-minute, 50-second mark, he had a very fine turnover as he inbounded it off of Dyson Daniels' head. When you inbound the ball, make sure the other player's aware that they're going to be past the ball. Zach LaVine, seconds later, he hit a fadeaway J over Dyson Daniels. A nice-looking shot for Zach LaVine. Cutting the Hawks lead, 18-14 Hawks. The Sumo, seconds later, he had a breakaway fast break done, and all of a sudden, here come the Chicago Bulls as the Hawks lead. Turn back to 2, 18-16 Hawks. Daeqwon Plowden, he entered for the first time for Atlanta Hawks at the 4-minute and 7-second mark. Aforementioned, he had the wonderful 19-point day, and he only played 25 minutes and 15 seconds. Of course, with the aforementioned 7 for 8 shooting from field, 87.5%. Wonderful day. And he had a fast break dunk shortly after he came in. 2 of his 19 points. Excuse me. That was DeSumo there at the 4 minutes and 15-second mark. So Daeqwon Plowden, he entered at the 4-minute, 7-second mark after signing his 2-way contract. About 3 weeks ago, I believe he signed as well for the Atlanta Hawks in September. So they brought him back a few weeks ago. He had a quick 3 and a dunk there to end the final minutes of the first quarter. Keaton Wallace, he got 4 on 2 free throws and lay-in. Julian Phillips got a dunk and a 3 from Smith for the Bulls. And that was the end of the first quarter as the Hawks led by 2, 27-25. Tightly contested first quarter there. Towards the final minutes. The second quarter opens up with, you guessed it, a Chicago Bulls turnover. One of their 20 of the day. The first score was by Kobe White, though, at the free throw line for the Bulls there. The 11-minute, 21-second mark of the first quarter. And seconds later, the Bulls got another turnover. But the Hawks were a little bit cold there to start the first quarter. They would not get their first score until nearly 9 seconds in the second quarter. As the first Atlanta Hawks score was by Garrison Matthews as he made the free throw. He was fouled on 3-point attempt and made all 3 free throws. Split the Atlanta Hawks up 30-27. And that was the start of a 13-2 run there for Atlanta Hawks. As Plowden, he got a highlight alley-oop there at the 9-minute, 34-second mark. Keaton Wallace, he hit another 3-pointer there at 9-minute, 6-second mark. His 10th point. Deaqwon, he went 2 for 2, capped by steal, and one by Keaton Wallace as well. Seconds later, a floater by Keaton Wallace at the 7-minute, 47-second mark. His 15th point already, a career high for Keaton Wallace. 15 of his 27 points there already by the 7-minute, 47-second mark of the second quarter. A little bit concerning news out of this game for Atlanta Hawks is there at the 6-minute, 47-second mark. Deaqwon, he had a nasty ankle turn. A little bit like we saw last night with Bradley Beal. And thankfully, in both those circumstances, both players turned out okay. As Deaqwon did limp off to the locker room. They probably re-secured that ankle. Brought him back in. He became back available. And he came right back in minutes later for Atlanta Hawks. And finished the game playing nearly 30 minutes as he played 29 minutes, 24 seconds with 11 points. Nice shooting day, and he had his only 3-point shot made. A nice fadeaway corner 3-point shot there in the second half after that. So for right now, concerns of Deaqwon are quelled. We'll see where he's listed and what he's listed with on the injury report tomorrow. Hopefully it's nothing. And right now, we can assume and hope for the best after he came back and finished this game for Atlanta Hawks. So Keaton Wallace, aforementioned, by the end of the first half, The Atlanta Hawks, they went on a pretty nice run there in the first half. Let's go back here and recap some. Dyson Daniels, he got an and one opportunity there at the 5-minute 31-second mark. Dyson Daniels, 9th point. Atlanta Hawks were up 44-38 after he missed the free throw. But he got another bucket seconds later, no worries. 4-minute 56-second mark. Atlanta Hawks up 46-38. Onyeka Okongwu's third assist, 3 out of 7. He nearly got that triple-double. He'll get one day. Dyson Daniels, 11 point as well. Garrison Matthews, nearly a minute later, he got a 3 attempt. And it was a strange play. It looked like he was fouled. Looked like he used touch. Trae Young, he was called just last night for a foul attempt that looked mostly like that foul. And Garrison Matthews was not awarded on the same type of play. It looked to be a very marginal contract, hand grazing. In the situation last game, the Hawks did not have a challenge. So, in this game, the Hawks did have a challenge, and they used it, but they did not determine a foul. It's interesting. I guess if that play was challenged last night, they would not have determined a foul either. Forget the player who Trae Young fouled. I believe it's later here in this notes here, as we're also covering last night's episode. It's a long episode here tonight. So, the official timeout was called at 3-minute 57-second mark. There's no foul determined. The challenge was successful as they found the ball bounced off Zach LaVine. Hawks led 6 points at that point, 46-40. LaVine, he then made another shot, one of his 15 points today. 3-minute 39-second mark, a lay-in, 46-42 Hawks. Cut to a 4-point lead. That's about as low as that would be for the rest of the quarters. Kobe White, he had turnover. The Bulls' 12th of the day already there at the 3-minute 21-second mark. They had 12 of their 20 turnovers already there by the 3-minute 21-second mark of the first quarter. Seconds later, Onyeka Okongwu in one opportunity, and he made the free throw. 49-42 Hawks over the Bulls. Onyeka Okongwu, seconds later, tip in. 51-42 Hawks. Keaton Wallace, 3-point, 2-minute 17-second mark. 54-42 Hawks. Keaton Wallace, 18th point already. 18 points there in the first half for Keaton Wallace. 18 out of 27. He kept balling there in the second half, getting 7 more. Dyson Daniels got to the free throw line as well, made 1 for 2. Hawks up 57-42 as they really started to pull away. 15-point lead, I believe the largest of the day as well. The 16-point lead would be the largest of the day. Their final margin as well. 1-minute 30-second mark. Onyeka Okongwu, he had a layup off Vich Krejci's 4th assist. Vich Krejci came back in at the 3-minute 21-second mark after turning his ankle. So he wasn't out for too long. Likely they secured it, they wrapped it up, and got nice and secure. Hopefully it's just a minor turn. And hopefully he's day-to-day and available for these upcoming gauntlets there. And both in Boston and New York versus the Knicks and Celtics. So, to end the quarter, Onyeka Okongwu, he got a lay-in. One of his 3 offensive rebounds accounted for as well. On his way to a double-double. Giving the Hawks the 14-point advantage at halftime. 61-47 Hawks. Keaton Wallace, aforementioned, had 18 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 6 for 8 shooting in the first half. It's good for 75%. 3 for 3 shooting from 3-point land. 0 turnovers. As well as he had 3 for 3 shooting from free throw land. Dyson Daniels, he had 14 points in the first half. 14 of his 18 there. 6 for 10 shooting from field. 1 for 2 from 3-point land. Bogdanovich went 1 for 10 on the day. Did not make a shot there in the first half. David Roddy, his only 4 points on the day. His only 2 shots made came in the first half. 4 points for David Roddy, 1 turnover, 3 steals. All of his 3 steals came in the first half. Pretty active there on defense. Garrison Matthews, he was 0 for 4 as well in the first half. 0 for 3 for 3-point land. So quite a lot of negatives, but Keaton Wallace and Daeqwon Plowden saved the day, along with Onyeka Okongwu. And other nice moments as well by Clint Capella, Dyson Daniels as well. Carrying this Atlanta Hawks team to the 110-94 victory over the Bulls. For the Bulls, Vucevic had 8 points, 11 rebounds first half. 3 of his 4 offensive rebounds. They did a better job boxing out on him in the second half. 4 for 9 field goals, 0 for 2 from three-point land. Zach LaVine, only 6 points in the first half. But he did have 4 assists. He was looking for his pass pretty good in that game. The problem is, a lot of the Bulls were not hitting shots, as they were 6 for 27 from three-point land today. Not good for the Bulls. The Bulls were winning the rebounding margin in the first half, 34-25, as well as the field goal percentage, as the Hawks had 42.6% compared to the Bulls' 44.7%. The difference in the first half was turnovers, as the Atlanta Hawks had 3 compared to the Chicago Bulls, 13. That's not good for the Bulls. So third quarter opens with a Josh Giddey 3. One of his 3 field goals and 3 of his 7 points there. At the 11-minute, 34-second mark, cut the Atlanta Hawks lead down to 11. 61-50 Hawks. Clint Capella had a lay-in there at the 11-minute, 11-second mark. Beat Krejci at corner 3. His only 3 of the day. There at the 10-minute, 34-second mark. Nice fadeaway to put the Hawks up 66-50. Nice to see after his ankle roll. Noted that David Roddy missed another shot there at the 10-minute and 12-second mark. Aforementioned, he had a tough day today. Of course, the other day, he saved the day, having those 3 3-point shots there to end the first quarter the other day, in the game just the other day. So they're at the 9-minute and 53-second mark there in the third quarter. Patrick Williams, he had a shot over Roddy, 3-point shot on a very poor closeout. Another tough break for David Roddy there, as the Hawks' lead was cut to 13, 66-53 Hawks. Clint Capella, seconds later, at the 9-minute, 15-second mark, he had a dunk and a hook later at the 8-minute, 52-second mark. His 8-point with the Patrick Williams layup in between. 70-55 Hawks. Mostly Hawks in this game. The Bulls would go on a nice run to cut it 73-67 after Vucevic and Zach LaVine scored, but Dyson Daniels, he came right back and stole the ball by the 4-minute, 25-second mark, assisted by Garrison Matthews' floor dive. Really giving maximum effort there for Atlanta Hawks. Getting the ball, passing it to Onyeka Okongwu. He went for a dunk, missed the dunk, but made both the free throws after Nikola Vucevic found him on the push there. Hawks lead back up to 8 points, 75-67 Hawks. Bogey, he had another one of his 10 misses. There at the 3-minute, 56-second mark. I think he'll be back Saturday. Good form. At the 3-minute, 43-second mark, Phillips had a dunk there. 75-69 Hawks. 3-minute and 20 seconds, Bogey finally connects his only made basket of the day, pushing the Hawks lead back up to 9. It was a clutch shot. Definitely needed, as the Bulls were really threatening there in the third quarter. And pushing the lead back up to 9 points, they started to push them back away. Of course, Plowden, he was lights out all day. He had another 3 there at 2-minute, 51-second mark, pushing the Hawks lead back up to 10. It's 81-71 Hawks. Plowden, he hit another 3, 84-71 Hawks. Smith for the Bulls and Kobe White, off a Kobe White assist, trimmed the Hawks lead back to 11, 84-73 Hawks. Julian Phillips, he had a nice play on the break, going for the transition score. He got a hard foul and went to the free throw line, and he hit both. Kobe White's, he also got a nice couple free throws there. Cut the Hawks lead back to 6 points, 84-78 Hawks. But Keaton Wallace, just seconds later, had highlight reel dunk of the day. He capped off his 27-point performance there at the 50-second mark with a highlight reel slam dunk off of Onyeka Okongwu's 6 assists, pushing the Hawks lead back up 8 points, 86-78 Hawks. In the fourth quarter, it started with Onyeka Okongwu 3-point shot. It's nice to see Onyeka have such a nice day, not only in the rebounding game, the passing game, scoring, but also hitting that corner 3. It's clutch here for the Atlanta Hawks spacing. And Onyeka Okongwu, he might be a crucial player here for Atlanta Hawks in their closing lineup. Of course, he's not starting up right now, but we might see him in many situations in playoffs and clutch situations closing for Atlanta Hawks. being able to hit that corner three as well as being stalwart and active on the rebounding game. Everything else he brings to the table. His defense, great to see. I sometimes compare him with my friends to Draymond Green. He reminds me of a little bit more lengthy Draymond Green. Of course, Onyeka Okongwu, he has a 7.2 wide wingspan. And Draymond Green, he has a 7.1. So Onyeka, he's a little bit more lengthy there than Draymond Green, which is something to say because Draymond Green is certainly very physical, very tall, very lengthy player, stalwart center, and of course a big crucial part of that Golden State Warriors dynasty. So moving and going back on this Hawks game, that pushes the Hawks lead back to double digits, 89 to 7-8 Hawks. Wallace, he answered seconds later with a lay-in at 11 minute, 36-second mark, trimming the Hawks lead back to single digits, 89 to 80 Hawks. Keaton Wallace had a floater there at the 10-minute, 39-second mark. His 22nd point. Plowden, he had another point, his 16th of his 19 points there at the 9-minute, 56-second mark. A nice floater there. Or, excuse me, he had a 3-point shot there. Putting the Hawks lead back up to 14. 94 to 80 Hawks. Minute and a half later, Vit Krejci layup. The score I wrote down is not correct. I wrote down 69-82. That's not correct. 7-minute and 59-second mark. Vucevic hit a floater, cutting the Hawks lead to 96 to 84. Clint Capella, he drew a foul seconds later on dunk attempt and hit one of two free throws. Hawks lead 97-84 there at the 7-minute, 23-second mark. Zach LaVine, he had another score on the other end, 7-minute mark. 97-86 Hawks. They're starting to cut in a little bit, and they give a little bit more effort here, or a little bit more attempts cutting into the deficit before they wave the white flag. LaVine, he had a 3-point shot, cutting the Atlanta Hawks lead back to single digits, 102 to 94 at the 4-minute, 8-second mark. But Keaton Wallace, he had the answer with his 25th point, another 3-point shot, made Vit Krejci 6 assists, putting the Hawks lead back up to double digits, 105 to 94. Onyeka Okongwu, he hit two free throw seconds later, 106 to 94 Hawks. Great defense down the stretch, great defense all day, aforementioned. And Dyson Daniels, he iced the game after he hit a shot, putting the Hawks lead 108 to 94 over the Bulls. Keaton Wallace, he would score at the 56-second mark, and that would be the final score of the game. Hawks win 110 to 94. So, of course, last night had a little bit of technical difficulties. I'll cover a little bit of the Suns game here before we look at the Atlanta Braves international free agent signings. A little bit of previews there. There was one player, of course, that was supposed to be projected to be signed by Atlanta Braves, and he's not on that list yet. Might see if things change later. So, of course, the Atlanta Hawks, they got their second consecutive victory today. Winning over Chicago Bulls. Last night, they won over the Phoenix Suns, 122-117. And also, don't miss out Quinn Snyder biography in just a few minutes. That'll come before the Braves segment here. Trae Young, he had a 43-point game, 6 for 12 shooting, 6 for 12 shooting from three-point land, 50%, 41.9% shooting overall from the field, 5 assists, 3 steals, 2 offensive rebounds, as Trae Young was active everywhere. Unfortunately, that translated into a right rib contusion, which kept him out of the game today. Hopefully he's okay. We want to see him absolutely ball out Saturday and Monday in both Boston and in New York there in Madison Square Garden. Hopefully Spike Lee's there, and hopefully Jalen Johnson and Trae Young put on an absolute show and make it the Atlanta Hawks arena again, once again, like they did last month. So Onyeka Okongwu's rebounding was likely a difference as the Hawks flipped the script from Thursday night's game versus the Suns, having a 64-48 rebounding margin compared to Thursday's game. They split the season series versus Phoenix Suns after they lost that rebounding margin Thursday, 50-34. They really flipped that script. And Onyeka Okongwu, he was a big story of that, having 21 rebounds, 10 of them offensive. So in 2 back-to-back games, Onyeka Okongwu, he has 31 rebounds with 13 offensive rebounds. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, I did math right. And Garrison Matthews last night, he had a better day shooting as he had 19 points, 6 for 10 shooting from field, 5 for 8 shooting. Pete Krejci had a nice day last night, 15 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, 3 for 6 shooting from three-point land. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker had monster games for the Phoenix Suns. The Atlanta Hawks were pretty lucky to win this game. Aforementioned rebounding were a large part of that story. Kevin Durant, he had 31 points, 13 for 20 shooting from field, 6 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Devin Booker, he had 35 points. Not quite the game high, but the Suns' high. Trae Young had the game high with 43 points. Devin Booker also had 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 12 for 23 shooting from field, 52.2%. Bradley Beal, aforementioned, he had a struggle of a day with 11 points, 3 for 9 shooting. Ryan Dunn, the rookie for Phoenix Suns, had 14 points, 6 for 12 shooting from field. Of course, we look on this podcast, the 3 stats of who wins the basketball game. And the Hawks won 2 out of 3 of those, winning the rebounding margin 64-48, the turnover margin narrowly 12-13, and they lost the field goal percentage margin to the Phoenix Suns 43.9 to Hawks 51.2. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. In the first half, the Atlanta Hawks, they had an early lead, 64-56. The shooting was rather tight as the Atlanta Hawks. Field goal percentage margin was narrow with the Phoenix Suns, 46.2 to 47.7. The Hawks were outshooting the Suns from three-point land handedly, 47.4 to the Phoenix Suns, 35.3%. There in the first half. Hawks were winning the rebounding margin, 30-26 already. Turnover margin was won handedly in the first half, 3-8. A little bit sleepy there in the first half. Action really picked up there in the second half. As the Phoenix Suns, they made a real run at and even overtook the lead there in the third quarter there. Trae Young, he already had 30 of his 43 points there in the first half. 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 of them offensive, 2 turnovers. Onyeka Okongwu, he had 7 points, 7 of his 21 rebounds. He was a real difference maker there in the second half with 14 rebounds. Garrison Matthews, 14 points, 4 for 5, all threes, 2 for 3 shooting. Kevin Durant, he had 13 points. Devin Booker, 15 of his 35 points. He had 5 turnovers first half for Devin Booker. Ooh, tough. Bradley Beal, 7 points first half. He was largely a non-factor in the second half. Grayson Allen, the Hawks did a better job on him. Maybe the Suns did a little bit worse job trying to find him here in that game, as he absolutely went off in last Thursday's game. He had 6 points in the first half of last night's game. Not too bad for the Hawks. Both 3-pointers. So the third quarter opened up with a Booker score as the Hawks' lead was trimmed to 5 points, 64-59 Hawks. V answered with a huge 3-point shot, putting the Hawks' lead back up to 8, 67-58. Suns got a basket right back, 67-61. Trae Young got a turnover on the other end. At the 10-minute, 36-second mark, Trae Young got a foul on a play where he didn't appear to touch Ryan Dunn. So this is the play we were talking about earlier. Who was that for the Atlanta Hawks that... I guess pause here for station identification while I reset here and find where... there at the 3-minute and 57-second mark. The Garrison Matthews attempted three-point play. Garrison Matthews attempted a three-point play. Is determined by the NBA review office that there's no foul called. And just last night, we saw Trae Young called for the same foul on Ryan Dunn at the 10-minute, 36-second mark of the third quarter. The Hawks did not have a challenge there. They were unable to challenge that play. It was called a foul by aforementioned in yesterday's broadcast, which was botched. So no one got to see me explain that. But in yesterday's game, Trae was called on a foul where he didn't appear on the broadcast to touch Ryan Dunn. The replay saw him graze him going by. That was called a foul. Garrison Matthews in this game, I believe it was second quarter. I'm not sure what quarters. 3-minute, 57-second mark. I believe the second quarter, maybe the first quarter. Here for Atlanta Hawks. He was called for a foul, and the NBA review office reviewed it. They did not call a foul. They called instead a turnover as Zach LaVine touched the ball before it touched anything else out of bounds. So we covered a little bit of something here with the BOS Sports Podcast. A terrible call from the Phoenix Suns game last night versus the Atlanta Hawks at 10-minute, 36-second mark there on Trae Young. So anyways, Dunn missed 1 of 3. Hawks lead was cut to 5, 67-62. Ball didn't lie, not completely, as he made 1 of 3. So moving on, later in the score, Tyus Jones, he got a step-back jumper there at the 9-minute, 56-second mark. Hawks lead 5, 69-64 Hawks. Ryan Dunn, layup, 69-66 Hawks. KD dunk and 1, 8-minute, 47-second mark after Devin Booker's assist. Was 5. Gave the Suns the lead there. 69-69 tie there, the 8-minute, 47-second mark. Suns, Hawks. Kevin Durant scores moments later on a fadeaway jumper. Another 3-1 and 1 opportunity. And he made the free throw, 72-69 Hawks. As the Suns were on a 16-5 run to open the third quarter with their largest lead of 7 points, 79-72 there in the third quarter, with a 23-8 run there. Kevin Durant, he hits another free field goal moments later before that 79-72 run moment. And Devin Booker, he had a 3-point shot there at the 5-minute, 58-second mark to complete that aforementioned 79-72. The play just prior, Bradley Beal turned his ankle. It was a concerning moment. Aforementioned, we saw Vit Krejci had a similar moment. The Bradley Beal ankle turn from last night, it looked pretty vicious, and he came back from it and played pretty well. Maybe not because he had a little bit of a struggling day, but he still played, and he hit the final shot of the day, which was a 3-point shot. So he hit a 3-point there at the end of the day. Same with Vit Krejci, so hopefully both players are there are just fine. Bradley Beal, certainly a very exciting player to watch in the NBA. Hopefully he's healthy and back for the Phoenix Suns. So end of the third quarter, the Hawks only led by 2 points as they went on a 14-3 run in the third quarter, as mentioned by Bob Gottman broadcast. Capped by Trae free throws, Trae layup, Trae another floater. Quick 5 points from Trae, a Vit Krejci 3-point shot at the 1-minute, 1-second mark, and that would be the final score. So that got the Hawks lead back 89-87, which would be the final score there of the third quarter. Fourth quarter open with 2 straight 3-point shots. As Kyle Korver's shot lab was looking super jelly last night, as the Atlanta Hawks shot 41.5% from 3-point land last night. Dyson Daniels got one in transition off a bogey assist. 92-87 Hawks, and Bogey off of Vit's assist, as Bogey had a much nicer shooting day yesterday, shooting a little bit better. 3 for 13 yesterday, 2 for 9 yesterday. Another struggle day, 1 for 10. I think he'll bounce back just fine. We see Bogey sometimes struggle, and he bounces back just fine as long as he's healthy. So, Iguodala there for, got a couple free throws there for the Suns. Tyus Jones, Kevin Durant, he got a fadeaway jumper as the Suns went on a quick 7-2 run on the Hawks. Putting the Hawks lead to 3 points, 97-94 Hawks. Onyeka Okongwu answered moments later, 9-minute, 30-second mark, 99-94 Hawks. Booker answers, then again, cutting the lead to 2 points as Dominique Wilkins mentioned the broadcast. It would be tight, and of course it was 99-97 Hawks at the point. But Onyeka Okongwu, he had dunk in transition, his 20th point. Vit Krejci assist. And 8-minute, 46-second, it was a stop of play, and Clint Capella subs in for OO. Vit was fouled, 101-97 Hawks. And on the 7-minute, 6-second mark, Kevin Durant, he scored an ISO drive on Clint Capella. Clint did not stand a chance, unfortunately. 101-99 Hawks lead by 2. And Trae Young, about a minute later, he hit a 3-point shot, quelled the run. His 33rd point, 104-101 Hawks. Devin Booker, he answered right back. 104-103 Hawks there at the 5-minute, 49-second mark. But Trae's 28 shot there at the 5-minute, 35-second mark, a field goal roll. Answers back, Hawks lead 106-103. 4-minute, 15-second mark. Mason Plumlee called for a blocking foul. Trae Young went to the free throw line, hits both in the clutch. 108-103 Hawks. Garrison Matthews, he had his 5th foul there, the 4-minute, 1-second mark. A bit concerning play. Bradley Beal, he got the free throw line there as he's back in the game after twisting his ankle earlier. Cutting the Hawks lead back to 4 points, 108-104 after going 1 for 2. Vit Krejci had a 3 there at the 3-minute, 43-second mark after Garrison Matthews' assist. 111-104 Hawks. We'll pause here for station identification. So from there on, it's mostly Hawks rest of the way. Trae Young, he had a logo 3 there at the 1-minute, 28-second mark. His 40th point, 117-109 Hawks. Onyeka Okongwu tip in. 102, the 1-minute, 2-second mark. 119-112 Hawks after Booker hit a couple of free throws. And from there, it's pretty much over. Booker hit a 3-minute 3-point shot there. 41-second mark, 119-114. But from there, it's foul game. Trae Young, he went 2 for 3, executing the clutch, hitting 4 for 5 free throws there in the last couple minutes. Putting the Hawks lead, 120-114, 31 seconds left. Bradley Beal, and as well at the 14-second mark, putting the Hawks up 122-114. Aforementioned, Bradley Beal got a 3-point shot. There was 7 seconds left. Nice to see after he turned the ankle, 122-117. So this segment was supposed to happen last night, and of course with the technical difficulties, this segment was supposed to air last night, and of course with the technical difficulties, hopefully that doesn't happen again right now as it might. We're about to review Quinn Snyder and how he came to Atlanta Hawks, and of course after tonight the story looks a little bit more dynamic with this interesting victory with Keaton, Wallace, and Daeqwon Plowden coming in from the G League. We kind of get a little bit of a sense of how the entire organization, entire coaching staff is being formulated. Very development-minded, signing players such as Daeqwon Plowden to a 2-way contract, Keaton Wallace, I believe, as well, before the season, developing in the G League and having a great organizational depth. So Quinn Snyder, he grew up in Mercer Island, Washington, where he was a standout athlete, earning the state title basketball player of the year twice there in Washington, leading his high school team to the 1985 state championship. He was also named a McDonald's All-American, the first from the state of Washington to receive this honor. He continued his basketball career and played collegiately at Duke under Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, there from 1985 to 1989, where he was a point guard and contributed to 3 Final Four appearances there in 1986, 1988, and 1989. He served as the team captain there his senior year. He went undrafted in 1989, where Quinn Snyder decided to pursue other avenues, obtaining both MDA and a JD from Duke. In his junior and senior years of undergrad, he averaged over 5 assists a game both years, with 28.7 minutes per game and 30.4 minutes per game, respectively. As well, in his junior year, he shot 44.6% from 3 and 48% overall from field goal. Great statistics there, great shooting percentages there as a point guard, averaging 8.3 points per game, 5.7 assists, 1.6 steals per game. And if you extrapolate those numbers play with those a little bit, shades a little bit of Trae Young. Of course, he's not quite the continual MVP, all-star and all-NBA candidate that Trae Young is in college, but shades of that there in college. Similarities in their game, of course, and that's a little bit why Quinn Snyder is a perfect coach for this Atlanta Hawks team right now with Trae Young. So his career beginnings and coaching began there under Coach K at Duke, where he served as administrative assistant from 1993 to 1995 while completing his graduate studies. He then became a full-time assistant coach and was promoted to associate head coach there for Duke in 1997. During his tenure, Duke made NCAA tournament championship rounds both in 1994 and 1999, and winning the ACC tournament in 1999. In 1999, Quinn Snyder took his first head coaching job thereafter leaving Duke for the 1999 for 2000 season there at University of Missouri. Not quite a basketball school there at University of Missouri. He succeeded longtime coach Norm Stewart. And aforementioned, Missouri Tigers, not quite a basketball school, as they didn't make their first Elite Eight until 2002 when Quinn Snyder led them there, which was the deepest run in Missouri basketball's history at that point. I think I kind of remember that. It's talked about quite a bit there when they did that. After resigning from Missouri in 2006, following a challenging season, he took a brief hiatus, which would become a little bit of a theme. We'll see him do that again later in his career. But he then became head coach at Austin Toros in the NBA Development League, now known as the G League. Over 3 seasons, he would lead the Toros to significant success, winning the division championship twice and reaching the D-League finals once. His efforts led him to the Dennis Johnson Coach of the Year in 2008-2009 season there in the now named G League. They certainly needed that rebranding name there. So Quinn Snyder's NBA assistant coach roles included stints with the Sixers and Collins in 2010 to 2011, and Los Angeles Lakers under Mike Brown 2011 to 2012. Mike Brown just absolutely everywhere. Of course, mentioned just in another episode, he's recently fired from Sacramento Kings. Quinn Snyder coached in Russia a little bit for CSKA Moscow under Ettore Messina before returning to the NBA, where Quinn Snyder would become assistant coach under Mike Budenholzer. We just saw him last night versus Suns, Coach Bud there. So, it was a brief stint as he's soon hired by the Utah Jazz, his final stop there in 2014, before he eventually joined the Hawks. And with the Jazz, Quinn Snyder spent 8 seasons amassing a record of 372 wins and 264 losses, with 6 playoff appearances, including 3 trips to the Western Conference semifinals. So Quinn Snyder's won at least 3 playoff series in the NBA. And with the Jazz, and he became notable for his development. Of course, Donovan Mitchell, with the NBA's best record, Cleveland Cavaliers this year, grew up and developed in that Utah Jazz team with Quinn Snyder there as a head coach. Rudy Gobert as well became a standout player. His teams consistently ranked high in three-point shooting and were defensively robust. So in 2021, he led the Jazz to a 52-20 record, a nice record there, and earning him the head coach position for Western Conference All-Star Game. And despite these achievements, following that season, Quinn Snyder resigned from his position from the Jazz. I guess they did not quite see eye to eye there And aforementioned, he'd taken another sabbatical there before eventually joining the Atlanta Hawks in February 2023 in the middle season, replacing Nate McMillan after he was fired. And he signed a 5-year deal with the Atlanta Hawks, which included the remainder of that season. His introduction was marked with enthusiasm for working with the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young, and the rest of the talented roster. Jalen Johnson was already there between the G League and the main roster. His initial impact was noted in the 2023 play-in tournament and first-round series against the Boston Celtics, where despite his early exit, the Hawks looked good. Of course, the Boston Celtics would go on the following year in 2024 to win the championship after nearly being bounced in 2023 to the Miami Heat. Excuse me, not the Heat. Go back and look and check what team the Celtics lost to in 2023. The Snyder, he had focused on player development, team culture, and implementing his renowned defense. We've talked about in this podcast the Quinn Snyder variation of the 5-out motion offense, and of course that is putting the center up at the top of the key as opposed to putting them under the basket or down the paint there. And we've seen that variation a little bit less this year. We saw it a lot more last year with the Atlanta Hawks. This year, the Atlanta Hawks are playing all kinds of variations of motion offense. 5-out, 4-out, variations on that. Quinn Snyder's got a variation for everything. So, as well, been comparing this Atlanta Hawks team, they give me shades of the 7-Second Suns. That Suns team was Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, Quentin Richardson, and Sean Marion, and the rest of the crew there. This Atlanta Hawks team has shades of that, and that's noted by Quinn Snyder's 0.5 second offense, emphasizing quick decision-making on the court there. So, aforementioned shades of 7-Second Suns. And don't want to leave out the rest of the coaching staff, as they're instrumental into the Atlanta Hawks' success. Brian Bailey, Mike Bray, Brittany Donaldson, Steve Cly, Igor Koskov, Antonio Lang, Sanjay Lumpkin, Epke Udo, Jeff Watkinson, Reggie Onwukamuche, Brian George, and of course Kyle Korver as well is active there as an assistant GM. They call it the Kyle Korver Shot Lab, so he's active a little bit there in player development as well. So before we go, let's touch a little bit on Atlanta Braves. International free agency signing period, aforementioned. They signed 10 players, as reported by David O'Brien. Again, already listed on the Atlanta Braves free agency website or transactions website, MLB.com. Yangel Martinez, Elias Reyno. Yangel Martinez, a right-handed pitcher. Elias Reyno, an outfielder. Malvin Martinez, a shortstop. Yasel Garcia, a shortstop. Jan Alejandro, a shortstop. And right-handed pitcher, Lionel Provosti. As reported by David O'Brien and other reporters online as well, Roddy Reyes, Diego Torres, both signed by Atlanta Braves as projected and predicted, as well as Yastin Pinellas, right-handed pitcher out of Dominican Republic, and Wilmer Almonte. So at 16 years old, Roddy Reyes is a 20th ranked prospect. The Braves and Pirates, aforementioned, are the only two teams that are projected to land a top 20 prospect. He's already standing at 6'4", 220, well-built, throwing maximum 102 mile-an-hour fastballs. Maybe the future of velocity. He's already 6'4", well-built. He's only going to get stronger and bigger. We could see him sitting at 102 by the time he makes the big leagues. A little bit like Paul Skeens, but 6'4", he's and 16 years old. He has potential to be a much physically more grown player than Paul Skeens. Impressive athlete for the Pittsburgh Pirates already is. And of course, the Braves will prioritize this physical growth, having priority or control over him for a long period of time. If he has great success in the minors, I wouldn't be surprised if the Atlanta Braves tried him out of the bullpen. But, of course, as the Atlanta Hawks are doing with Zachary Rizachet, want to absolutely emphasize physical development, give that body plenty of rest to get as big, as strong as possible for a long and hopefully Hall of Fame Atlanta Braves career. The Atlanta Braves also have a potential future number one starter for Atlanta Braves, is what I say about Roddy Reyes. So the other headline signing by Atlanta Braves, number 5 prospect overall, Diego Torres, a 6'4" switch-hitting outfielder, number 5 international prospect overall, shows a load of power at the plate offensively. And aforementioned, he's a switch hitter. Aforementioned, he could be somewhat like Matt Olson or Aaron Judge at the plate. And he'll likely play a corner outfielder position due to his size. He's 16 as well. So the Braves already have Luis Guanipa, now have signed Diego Torres. They now have a nice core of position players to look for in the future. Of course, they signed Jose Perdomo last year on the 15th of January. So one player I had written down for last broadcast, last night's episode, a projected signing that has not reportedly happened so far, is Angel Carmona, a 6'1" right-handed shortstop out of Venezuela. It's projected to be signed. Instead, the Braves signed Malvin Fernandez, shortstop, Yasel Garcia, shortstop, Juan Alejandro, shortstop. Don't have much information on those players aforementioned. I'm going to go back and start doing some research on them and get some information on those signings for the upcoming BOS Sports Podcast episodes. So I want to thank everyone for joining me on this giant, monster, long episode of the BOS Sports Podcast. Be sure to stream previous episodes of the BOS Sports Podcast. We'll be back Saturday night after the Celtics game. Be back Monday night, sometime Monday, after the MLK game versus the Knicks there in Madison Square Garden. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Be sure to stream Bar Soap Music on Spotify. And we'll see you again very soon after Saturday night's game.